All right. Welcome. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you all coming in from all over the place. Most of you are actually pretty far away from me right now, so I very much appreciate you being here in this online version of the Yoga Engineer. Today we have a crescent moon. It is waxing. It is growing slowly day by day. It is still in Cancer, Cancer the crab, Cancer our emotional body, Cancer our chest, our rib cage, our breast. And to me, that chest extends out into the entirety of the upper extremity, down into the deep core, especially the solar plexus, that base of the rib joint in the spine, as well as our collarbones, shoulder girdle, and those connections into the neck and head. So physically, we're going to be focusing there and how those things end up connecting us to the lower body, that more rooted body. Cancer, again, the crab has that tendency to feel very safe and very protected, the shell, the claws, but can take that too far, can take that into its shadow space of being a little overly protected, a little overly isolated, and a little overly snippy. It's interesting then that we choose the bee today from Kim Krantz's Wild Unknown. The bee is known for being earnest, hardworking, and democratic. In this deck, the bee personality is a delight to be around, especially when there's a team project on the horizon. Bees love to work steadily and thoughtfully until the final task is complete. They are sensitive creatures, aware of many subtleties at once. Since they're artists at heart, they usually add creative detail to the overall vision. For the most part, they have bustling, joyous personalities until they're too tired from all the work. Then they gripe, and then they sting. So this is interesting to me because I think the place we find ourselves in right now, many of us in isolation, many of us confined to a space in which our typical workflow is altered, and yet we have a deep expectation that we ought to continue being as productive as we were, even though the entire energy of the planet has shifted to a slower quality. And so that internally can create conflict. So for today's practice, however that resonates for you, are you feeling underworked? Are you needing some creative inspiration, some motivation? Perhaps practicing around the heart space and allowing the breath to move down into our more creative, fiery place can help you. But if you feel like you're struggling because you're expecting too much of yourself, today's practice may actually ask you to draw down, may have you slow into the breath, have you be productive by refining and getting slightly more flowing, letting the water element of Cancer really come through a bit. So taking all of that into account, accessing the parts that really resonate for you personally and going from there. All of that said, today's practice, we're going to start standing. So go ahead and have any props available. If you've got blocks, let them be near the top of your mat. If you have proxies for blocks like stacks of books or boxes, please have those as close to the front of the mat as convenient. You will find your place at the top of your mat with your feet hips width. I will turn toward you for now, allowing the toes to turn out slightly. They create just a subtle V, softening into a bend in the knees, taking the weight back into the heels slightly, and then closing your eyes. Finding the breath up through the feet. Maybe some subtle sighing on your exhales, getting that sound, the throat. We have a sun in Taurus still, so that neck, that throat, those are really still applicable. Making some noise, clearing out. Maybe even open mouth, loud, sticking tongue out. lion's breath type exhales. Getting out from the deep parts of your roots, releasing. Rolling the shoulders up to the ears and then rocking them forward and back, avoiding the downward pull, thinking more about lift, buoyancy, and then flapping those wings forward and back, the entire shoulder blade moving, the arms coming along for the ride, noticing how the collarbones move as well. Trying to do that separate from the spine at first, and then allowing the rib cage to join in. As the shoulder blades come forward, round the back body, maybe tuck the chin. And as the shoulder blades come back, sternum lifts, maybe lift the gaze slightly, and then follow the breath, slowly exhaling as the front body shortens, inhaling deeply as the front body lengthens, and breathing out the back body, and breathing in the front body. And then Tadasana, stacking the ribs over the hips over the heels, the head over the heart. When your elbows come down under your shoulders, but your hands be as wide as they need to be so that your arms are truly neutral. Hands active, reflection of your heart and your lungs. Finding the breath in and out through the nose. Feeling the weight shift back into the heels, a gentle hugging the heels toward midline, gripping an imaginary block. A very subtle opening of the thighs into an imaginary strap. Feeling how the glutes engage underneath your sitting bones ever so slightly. Subtle, yet powerful. Long back neck. Turning the palms out, reaching up, inhale. Exhale, push the palms out. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, push out and down. Keeping the pelvis really stable, we reach up, lifting through the tail, gathering through the belly. And then exhale, twist just the heart to the right. Soften the elbows out to shoulder height. Look back toward right arm. Inhale, reaching up. Coming through center. Exhale, twist just the ribs. Keep your pelvis just as it is. Navel centered. Looking back toward the left arm. Inhale up. Exhale to the right. Inhale up. Exhale to the left. Inhale, come through center. Take the right arm out and down. Push down through the left heel, reach up through the left ribs, shoulder, fingertips, and then exhale, pressing up and over into the side bend. Don't let the hips splay to the left. Keep them centered, so that's really a spinal bend. No collapse. Maybe you look down. Maybe you look up. And look down. On an inhale, look up. Exhale, bend that left elbow across the heart. And then sweeping both arms up, stack spine, reach overhead. Inhale, deep, slow. And then left arm out and down. Take your time. Push down the right heel. Lift up the right ribs, then the shoulder blade, then the fingertips. And then on your exhale, hips pressed into left hand, keeping centered as you reach up and over, left side bend. Maybe you look down. Breathing into side ribs and armpit. Looking up. Looking down. Keeping the hips stable at center between the heels. Inhale, look up. On your exhale, bend that right elbow across your heart, moving the shoulder blade, trying to keep ribs stable. Stack spine, reach both arms out and up. Exhale, right arm out and down. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, side bend, cross heart, all one exhale. Stack spine, reach up. Exhale, left arm out and down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, right side bend. I'm sorry, left side bend and right arm crosses heart. There we go. And then stack spine, reach up. Exhale, sit back into the heels, chair pose. Take the hands out in front of you for this version. Sitting deep into the hips, weight back into the heels. Pulling the shoulder blades toward the back of the heart, the hands will get a little wider. Let that happen. Gathering the belly up to meet your spine, even as it curves gently forward. And then those front ribs pull back quite a bit so that the back heart is rounded between the shoulders. Look left and right. Sit back further, hinge deeper, reach farther with the hands. Inhale deep. Sit deeper, longer. Inhale, push through the heels, lift through the tail, rising, reaching overhead. Exhale, trace the midline, hands together, through the heart, down past the roots. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, chair pose, sit back, heart tall, ribs gathered, shoulders back, hands wide. Inhale deep. Exhale, sit lower, hinge deeper, reach further. Inhale deep, drop the thighs, gather the belly, reach the heart, the crown, the hands forward, half chair. Inhale, push through the heels, rise up. Trace the midline down, exhale, slow and long. Inhale, reach out and up. Gather the ribs here. Try to avoid that upper back bend for now. And then exhale, chair pose. Neutral spine, hands forward. Inhale deep. Exhale, sit low, half chair. Inhale here. Shift the weight forward into the forefoot. Hands come down, fingertips or blocks. Let the heart surrender, the head get heavy. Forward fold, belly on thighs. Now your knees can be as bent as they need to be, but your weight is way forward into the ball of the foot. Your legs, especially the back leg, is working a lot. Subtle, subtle squeeze of the sitting bones toward the midline. Gathering deep of the navel, the ribs and the head will surrender a little bit more. Let your shoulder blades go very heavy. Slide the hands above the knees. Wrap elbows in slightly. Inhale, push with the forefoot, gather with the belly, lengthen with the crown, half fold. Be here. Very subtle, 10% effort squeeze of the sitting bones toward the midline. Gentle opening of the knees and gripping of the ankles. Gathering up of the belly. We're thinking cow spine in the low back, almost a back bend, and then gathering up the ribs between the shoulder blades. Inhale deep. Feel the legs working. Keep them working as you hinge, lengthening sternum forward, folding slowly, releasing one rib at a time, down through the crown, shoulders heavy, hands heavy. Gather navel. Look left and right. Hands above knees, lift halfway. Exhale, fold in. Use the legs, not just the mid-back. Push the earth away, lift halfway. Exhale, fold in. Maybe the thighs start to lift up slightly. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, hinge, reach forward into the fold, even more weight into the forefoot. Place your hands on the mat wide. Make sure that when you place your hands are at least as wide as your armpits. You're not underneath your armpits here. And maybe a little turnout so that your elbows can point straight back without your knuckles lifting off the ground. As you root the hands, take the feet back, plank pose. Making sure the shoulder is behind the crease in the wrist just a bit. We don't want to be out over the hand. Want to be just behind it. Feet stacked so heels are upright. Lifting gently through the tail, gathering through the ribs, long through the back neck. Finding your breath. Hinge in the hips, nothing else changes. Spine stays the same, downward facing dog. Heels pulled back instead of down, softness in the knees. Push with the ball of the foot, pull with your upper arms, plank pose. Keep the ribs lifted. Exhale, downward facing dog. Shrugging shoulders slightly, but wrapping them toward the front of the heart. Inhale, pressing forward. Inhaling deep. And then slowly exhaling long, downward facing dog. Be here, 3 breaths. Soften the knees so you can sharpen the hinge of the hips. And then gather the ribs up and wrap the elbows to point back or down. Again, turning hands out as needed to make that happen. Weight through the knuckles of index and middle finger. Weight through the ball of the big toe. That subtle gripping of the heels and the opening into the strap with the thighs. Ever so subtly, 10% effort, squeezing the sitting bones. Inhale, pressing forward, plank. Exhale, left knee comes down directly under the hip. You want to really roll over the toes so it comes direct. Don't just set it down so it's behind you. You want it underneath. On your inhale, that foot slips off the side of the mat like a kickstand. Right foot pivots flat. Don't slide it across the floor, just tip it down. Right hand to the sky, stacking, supported side plank. Now here, be clear, you want to stack the rib cage, but you don't want to collapse into that bottom shoulder. So bend left elbow and point it toward your left thigh. Keeping action through the knuckles and not just through the wrist. Gather the ribs back in space, but don't tuck the tail. Keep the tail pulling back slightly. Push down both feet, top of left foot, sole of right foot. Inhale, turn the hand past the front of your mat. Exhale, reach, stretch from pinky toe to pinky finger, as if pinky finger could reach the earth. Inhale, reach for the sky. Imagine really pulling right rib cage toward right hip, feeling those obliques shorten. And then exhale, lengthening them back out. Pushing with your right hand so you don't collapse. Sorry, left hand. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, reach over. This time, take the hand down. Find your plank. Pausing here. Finding that lifted tail and gathered ribs, long neck. Second side. Right knee comes down. Make sure it's not on your midline. It's directly under your hip. Foot comes off the edge. Left foot goes flat. Left hand to the sky. Stacking the rib cage without the right collarbone collapsing. Bend right elbow. Point it back toward your thighs. Feel the shoulder blade anchor onto your rib cage. Push down through the knuckles of index and middle finger instead of just the wrist. Look up at your left hand. Make sure it's not dropping back in space. Make sure it is really directly above the center of your heart. Push down through the top of right foot and the sole of left foot. Reach tall, inhale, turning palm toward front of mat. Exhale, reach into the side bend from pinky toe to pinky finger, wrapping that left pinky finger as if it would be the first thing to touch the earth. Keeping those left ribs pulling back even as the shoulder blade wraps around armpit. Be there for a moment. On an inhale, reach for the sky. Feel that left shoulder come in, the left rib cage pull toward left hip. There it is. Active, squeezing, and then exhale, stretching. Inhale, pulling in. Exhale, lengthening out. One more. This time, taking the hand down, find the plank pose. Feet hips width. Push forward past the wrist this time. Drop the knees, keep the hips lifted. Exhaling next round, bend the elbows, come to the earth. Hands are under elbows, not shoulders. Root down through the knees, the thighs, and let the pelvis get a little light. Not so much that it lifts high, but just so that the glutes soften. Then lift the navel actively toward your low back spine, pulling the organs up, away from the earth. Hands pulled back instead of pushing down. Feel the shoulder blades grip the back of the heart, back neck long. On your inhale, really pull with the arms and lengthen the heart forward. Lift happens naturally. Look left and right, baby cobra. Don't clench the glutes here. Don't push the feet down so much that the knees lift. We want the knees to be heavy so that the hip flexors are firing at the front. Softening around the tailbone a little. Inhale deep. Exhale, third eye comes to the earth. Rock out the hips. Rock out the head and neck. Inhale, center, knees heavy, belly lifts, hands pull back, heart pulls forward. Inhaling deep. Exhale. Come down. Inhale, rise up. Don't clench your glutes. Gather your belly. Exhale. Come in. This time adding on. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, push through the knees and the hands to lift up. And then tuck toes, downward facing dog. Pause here. Hug the ankles and the heels. Roll open the thighs slightly. Squeeze gently sitting bones. Tail lifts, ribs gather, head descends. Push with the knuckles. Lots happening here, nothing passive about it. Inhale, come forward, dropping the left knee, foot off the edge. Right hand up, right foot flat. Exhale, reach into the stretch. Inhale, shorten that right side waist, reach up. Exhale, reach over, long, slow, find your plank pose. Inhale, right knee down, left foot flat, left hand to the sky, make that kickstand, open up. Slow, long exhale, stretch that left side body. Inhale, shorten, gather. Exhale, to your plank. Inhale, shift forward. With your knees down, exhale to the earth. Inhale, find your baby cobra, don't clench your glutes. Exhale, surrender. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 to 3 breaths. How can you be both stable and very gently flowing with the wave action, that Cancer water? Inhale, come forward. Same thing. Left knee down and kickstand. Right hand to the sky, reaching up. Exhale, stretch long. Inhale, shorten the side waist. Exhale, plank. Take your time, don't rush. Inhale, right knee down. Left hand to the sky, reaching up. Take your time. Exhale, reach over. Inhale, shorten left side waist. Exhale, push through the stretch to your plank. Inhale, shift forward, lift tail. With or without knees, come to the earth. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, come down. Don't clench your glutes. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause. 2 to 3 breaths. Refine. Last time through, inhale, left knee down under hip. Kickstand, foot flat, right hand to sky. Exhale, reach. Inhale, shorten right side waist. Exhale, reach through the stretch to your plank. Take a very long time to get there. Right knee down. Kickstand, foot flat, left hand up, shoulders back. Exhale, stretch long. Inhale, gather left side waist. Exhale, reaching through, finding plank. Take forever to get there. Inhale, shift forward. Gathered heart, lifted tail to the earth with or without knees. No clenching in those glutes, baby cobra on your inhale. Exhale, slowly descend. Inhale, baby cobra, gather belly. Exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Soft knees, lifted hips. Gathered belly and solar plexus. Don't let the chest or the ribs collapse down, wrapping the shoulder blades around the heart to help lift. Take the knees down. Then be at least hips width. Toes touch. Take it back. Prayer pose. Then reach hands back by your shins. Child's pose. Shrug the shoulders. Don't reach all the way back for your toes. Shrug slightly. Let the shoulder blades go heavy. The elbows go slack. Palms face up. And maybe you make fists. Maybe you roll out your wrists. Maybe you rock gently on that third eye, unwinding. Making space at the base of the skull. The base of the ribs, or I'm sorry, the neck, where they meet the ribs. Breathe into the back body, lift the navel gently. Reaching hands forward, pulling forward, cow pose. Tucking toes, downward facing dog. Press forward, plank. Let the left knee come down. Be there for a moment. Taking the left foot off the mat. Find that supported side plank that we've been working with. Really push down through your left foot and those left knuckles. And then lifting the right foot, just so that your ankle, hip, and heart are on one long line. No need to try to lift it higher than your hip. You might be at a little bit of a diagonal, that's okay. The right hand can be on the hip or to the sky, yogi's choice. But inhale fully and then exhale, pull the knee toward the chest. Inhale, push back. Try not to go into a back bend, just to lengthen the leg to original position. Exhale, pull it toward the chest. Inhale, extend. Exhale, pull it in. Hand comes to the shin, the ankle, and then the knee points back. Again, not finding a back bend. Gathering the ribs, tail back, neutral spine. I might kick into my hands slightly, but I give it resistance. I pull on the ankle with my heart, my shoulder. I might look down. I want my knee not to point down. I want it to point straight ahead. My thigh. Be there. Maybe you start to kick into your hand enough that you come up onto left fingertips. Getting light in the left hand while those right ribs gather together. Maybe the left hand can come off the earth. Kicking into right hand, pushing with the left foot. Balance will be wonky there. Find the middle ground, dance it out a little bit. Hand comes back down gently in front of the shoulder, not underneath the armpit. Now find the upper back bend. Coil the shoulders together and sternum lifts toward chin. Keep the back neck long. Don't tuck the tail, but begin to kick into the hand a little bit more. Imagine the tail touching the back of your heart as the foot kicks and the hip extends. Can you find a little action at the solar plexus, that spot right at the base of the ribs in front of your stomach organ? Inhale, expand. Exhale, foot down, hand down, plank pose. Pause there before moving on to the other side. The right knee down, kickstand. Left foot flat, left hand to the sky. Make sure that the right knee is directly under you and not behind you. Lift that left foot slightly. Again, you'll be probably at a diagonal. It's okay. Push down with the right foot. Pull the tail back. Gather the ribs back. So we have this S curve in the spine. Hand can be on your left hip or up to the sky. Inhale deep. Exhale, pull the left knee toward the chest. Inhale, push back. Long heart, long leg. Exhale, gather in. Try to keep the ankle at its same level. Inhale, reaching back. Exhale, pull it in. This time, hand comes to shin or ankle. Knee points to the back edge of your mat. Don't go into the back bend yet. Let the tail pull back toward this left heel, and then gather the ribs between the shoulder blades. Then kick into the hand, activating the front of the left thigh. Remember not to collapse into that right shoulder. Keep the elbow pointed toward thigh. Be here. Pulling those right obliques together. Start to lift onto fingertips. And then find the balance point. Kicking into left hand, right hand getting light. Assessing how that right foot anchors to the earth, how the core engages all the way through the roots. That left hip be really active, front, side, back. And then touch down. Light on that right hand. Now we find the back bend. Coil through the heart first. Shoulders back. Sternum lifts toward chin, back, neck long. Feel your tail pull back in space toward your heart instead of tucking. Then kick into the hand, activating. Oh, yeah. That left thigh, stretching the front of the left hip without just collapsing at the base of your ribs. Keep your solar plexus really active. On an inhale, release the foot, extend, neutralize. Exhale, bring the foot down, find your plank. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, come down. Knees heavy, belly lifts, baby cobra, inhale. Exhale, hands stack under your forehead. Bend your knees 90 degrees. And then allow the heels to start to rock. Slowly on the exhales, one side to the other. Inhaling through center. Exhaling over to the other side. Take your time. Repeat. Take the feet down behind you. Neutralize your forehead, looking down. Hands remain where they are. Put backward emphasis on the elbows, pulling shoulders together. Pull your heart forward. And then wrap your elbows underneath your armpits, stacking so that you make a Sphinx pose. Now, it's really common to clench the glutes here. Avoid that. Push down through the knees. If you need to bend your knees to get the kneecaps heavy, do so. From there, ground down elbow, forearm, wrist, and knuckles. It's okay if your knuckles or if your hands come toward the midline. You don't have to have parallel forearms, but we want the elbows pulling in toward your midline slightly. Inhale deep, think about cow pose. Pull the shoulders together, pull the sternum forward. That very opening movement that we made, shoulder blades, winglets coming back. Notice how low the belly drops into the earth. Exhale, cat pose. Push with the knees and the pelvis. Push with the elbows, the wrists, the knuckles. Cat pose the rib cage. Push it up between the shoulder blades. Let the head go heavy. Inhale, pulling to cow. Long back neck, don't look straight up. Exhale, pushing through cat. One more like this. Inhale, cow, pulling. Exhale, pressing into cat. Now your pelvis is still on the ground, but the belly is lifted. Keep that lift and then pull the heart forward for your Sphinx. Don't let everything just collapse down as it has been. Keep it lifted in that cat and then open the collarbones toward cow. Be there. Soften the jaw. Look left and right, look down, bobble the head, whatever feels good, but your shoulders, your ribs, your belly, everything's super active. Don't clench the glutes. Notice your wrists have a tendency to lift up. Press them down and pull the whole forearm back. Wrap the elbows in slightly. The collarbones will broaden naturally. Let everything go to the earth. Elbows splay out. Other hand stacks on top. Forehead down. Shake the hips. Rock the head. Let the shoulder blades surrender. Pulling back through the elbows, variation on baby cobra, lift the heart. Then stack the elbows underneath the armpits, heart upright. Root down through the entire elbow, wrist, fingertips. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Keep the belly lifted, legs long, open heart, Sphinx pose. Keep the belly lifted, look left and right. Now you can stay here working this, not clenching the glutes, keeping that tailbone a little soft. If you'd like, Then you reach your left hand forward and bend your right knee. Push down. Maybe that right hand comes across the midline. As you push down with that whole forearm lifting the heart, left hand swings back to take the pinky edge side of right foot. Then kick into the hand slightly, push right forearm down, don't clench the glutes. Find your breath. Releasing, left elbow under the shoulder. Find your center, pause, lifted belly, open heart. Right hand reaches through, left knee bends. Left hand comes across the midline a little bit for balance. Push down that whole unit, then sweep. Right hand back, pinky edge side of the left foot, spread the toes. Don't clench the glutes, kick into the hand, push down through the forearm, gather the belly deep. Roll that shoulder back onto the ribs. Find your breath. Let it be your flow. And release, swipe forward. Sphinx pose. And then elbows wide. Hands stack, forehead down. Bend knees. Make very big, slow, sweeping circles with the ankles. Go 3 times fully in one direction, finding a rhythm that works for your breath. And then reversing direction once you've completed 3. Let the legs go long when you've completed your second side. Take a moment there. Be heavy. Lifting the head gently. Hands slide back wide on the mat, but under elbows. Pull back, baby cobra. That should feel pretty easy at this point. Push down knees. Lifting hips. Come back. Slowly, slowly, hips toward heels. Prayer pose. Take your time. Maybe you rock a little as you find that open low back that has worked so hard these last few poses. Make your choice. Arms long in prayer pose. Hands stacked under forehead. Or child's pose. Forehead down, shoulders shrugged, and hands back. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Sitting up on your heels, take a moment. When you're ready, make your way to standing. Slowly finding your way. We're going to use some of the same activation that we used lower to the ground for some balance work. Note that if you are on carpet, this balancing is going to be way harder than when you're in the studio on hardwood floors or cork. So please do not hesitate to walk off your mat and find a wall or a post or a counter or even a table or the top of a chair that can help you here. There's no harm in using those props. Starting with your feet, hips width, wherever you are, reach up. Root down through the heels, slight turn out, let the knees soften and the hips hinge slightly. Gathering in that solar plexus. Soft and long back neck. Roll out the wrists. And then bind the palms together, midline coming down to the heart. Take all the weight into the right heel, soft knee, left heel light, lift it up. Flex that foot, give it a little prana. Notice that you have to come over to the right to align yourself over the heel, but we don't want that hip popping out. Keep yourself one long line. Beautiful. Take your left hand down to the front of your knee and slide it to the shin, and then point the knee toward the earth. You can touch your finger to your thumb here in the right hand at your heart to keep that circuit strong. Spread your toes on the left foot a lot and resist the urge to move into the right forefoot. Keep it back in the heel. This might be plenty of work. Be here. Trying to lift through that left shoulder slightly and then gently start to kick into the hand. Nothing else changes. Soften your right knee. Kick your left foot. We're not finding the back bend yet. We're really just finding stability. Find your breath. Your calf is alive. Yeah. Try not to let that right knee roll in. Kick into the left hand a little bit more. And then release the knee back up to the heart. Hands together. Maybe if you like, push that left foot forward. Because why not? And then inhale, bend the knee, and then come back onto the mat. Don't lift up your right foot if you can help it. Close your eyes and feel. Whatever is there, soak it up the bones of your leg and thigh and into the pelvis and belly. Spread it out. Then take your weight into your left heel. Soften the knee, hinge into the hips slightly. Find that buoyancy. Your right foot get light and then lift it up. Flexing right foot, prana active. Toes spread. Again, check that left hip, hugging it in toward midline, stacking ribs over pelvis over ankle. Pull that knee up higher. Right hand moves to shin. Slides down to the ankle, point the knee down, spread those right toes. Left hand, index finger touches thumb, anchors to the heart. Be buoyant in that left leg. Wrap that knee out slightly. Gather in that solar plexus, then start to kick into the hand, very subtly. Lifting through the right shoulder, kicking without back bending, finding your stability. Check in with that left foot, heel heavier than forefoot. Tiny mini chair pose in that left leg. Kicking without back bending. Isolate this movement into the leg and the shoulder. 2 more breaths. Make them long and strong. When you're ready, release the foot, lift the knee up, hands to heart. On your exhale, straighten it out. Inhale, bend it. Exhale to the earth. Don't lift left heel up, just close eyes and feel. Notice. Soak it up. Maybe that left foot feels deeper in the earth than the right. Allow that. Revel in it. Let your sensation rise up the bones of the leg, the thigh, the pelvis, maybe all the way into the belly or the heart. Okay. Right heel heavy, knee soft. Bend the left knee, bring it up, flexing foot. Hand slides to ankle, knee points to earth. First side again. You can stay here doing as we did before, or you can reach right hand for the sky. Find the gather of the solar plexus. Spread those left toes and begin to kick as you lift the left shoulder slightly. Hinge in the right hip a bit, sit into the heel. If you'd like, start to tip the left knee up and the heart forward slightly. The knee will move faster than the heart. This is where the back bend comes in. Do not collapse at the base ribs. Support up and in with the solar plexus. Squeezing shoulders back, lifting right arm up instead of forward. Trusting right calf. In your breath. Inhale, come through center, hands together, knee lifts. Exhale, push through. Inhale, bend. Exhale, press down. Feel your right leg. Own it. Soak it up. Embody it, integrate it. Move it through your tissues. Second side, left heel heavy. Bend in the knee, subtle hinge in the hip. Inhale, right knee up. Hand to the ankle, top of foot, point knee down. Kicking in to right hand, right shoulder lifts slightly. Sit back into left heel. Roll that knee out. Kick harder. Maybe left hand reaches up. Wrapping shoulder blade forward, ribs are back. Then start tilting, hinging in left hip slightly. Keep the hand reaching up. Subtle coil in the back of the heart, but deep holding in that solar plexus. Start to kick into the hand more. Don't let the solar plexus unravel and the mid-back break. Find the breath. If you fall, that's the work being done. I'm all over the place. When you're ready, inhale, pull the knee through, hands to heart. Exhale, extend it long. Inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, to the earth. Close eyes, feel left leg. Draw it up and in, integrate. As you're ready, take the feet wide on your mat. Feet parallel or toes pointed slightly out. Yogi's choice, but the knees are bent. Inhale, reach up. Hinge in the hips, soften the knees, fold forward, wide leg forward fold. Weight in the forefoot. Let the hinge happen in the hips. And then if you like, very subtly, without bending the knees into a side lunge, rock the pelvis ever so subtly left and right. Gather your navel in deep. Let your shoulder blades, your ribs, your head go very heavy. Your legs are plenty capable of holding you up here. Find your center. Legs work so spine can surrender. If you like, adjust your hands so the palms face up. They can be between your feet or under your crown or out past your feet. What works for you? Be organic here. Just shift your weight way forward into the forefoot. Make the back leg work while it gets long. If you'd like, reach your left hand out to your left ankle. Keep the pelvis really stable. Walk right hand toward right toes. Side bend. Weight stays forward. Come through center on the inhale. Exhale, left hand out. Right hand over toward toes. It may or may not make it. Don't let the pelvis come along for the ride. Keep the pelvis steady. Side bend. Weight forward. Head heavy. And then inhale, come through center. Hands underneath shoulders, lift halfway. Walk the feet together to hips, a little wider than hips width, your squat width. If you have something to stack under your pelvis that will help you in this shape, please be my guest. Come to your squat. Finding your breath. Weight back into the heels as much as you can allow. If your heels don't touch the earth, feet a little wider and turned out more may help. It's not a worry if they don't touch though. Instead of pressing the knees out with the elbows, the chest can collapse there a little bit. Imagine instead, as the knees come outside the arms, that you're pulling the shoulders back, and that naturally widens the elbows without having to push out. The chest is rising. There's a sense of levity in the pelvis, squeezing of the sitting bones, gathering of the navel, rising of the crown. Pause here, 3 to 5 breaths. Remember the B. It's not about overworking. It's not about being where you've been before. This is about finding a natural rhythm of your breath where you are now. Honoring your present circumstances. Resistance. Limitation. As you're ready, let your pelvis meet the earth. Let your feet come out in front of you. And just give them a little roll out. Both directions. All right, and finding your bolster or stack of blankets, right, can be helpful. If you have your blanket to, instead of folding it in just equal folds, for this it can be better to give it a little S-curve fold, so it's in thirds. It's a little more stable that way and even. If you have a bolster, that's a great choice here. You want it across the top of the mat, and then a blanket or a block handy so that you can come down onto your belly. Now, if this is too much in your low back, maybe you take one of your blankets underneath your pelvis and give it a little support here. You want to align the bolster just at your chest so that the armpit is at the far end. And then you have the choice, your block, your blanket. If you don't have those tools, you can stack fists for the head, stack fist and palms. Depending on your anatomy, you might be able to reach just stacked palms. Be supported here however it feels appropriate. If you are not using your hands as your props, let your hands come out wide, wider than your chest, maybe a little wider than your mat, and reaching forward. And then start to breathe into the rib cage. Imagine that your sternum is pressing gently against the bolster so that the back body can expand, the armpits can stretch out. Imagine breathing in between each individual set of ribs. Maybe you go one at a time. Keeping in mind there are 12 sets of ribs. So you would be here for about 12 breaths. Slowing them down. Noticing. Noticing any places of resistance. Noticing where the breath may need a little extra invitation. As you come through your final few breaths, really letting the connection happen between your pelvis, belly, heart, throat, third eye, crown. Maybe back down through the legs. Connecting your internal dots with your energetic awareness. And slowly, as you're ready, drawing your hands back toward your shoulders, hands a little wider than your mat. A little pressure in your knees and lift your belly. And then slowly lift up, hips back toward your heels. If a prayer pose feels like a good place to be, hands might come up onto your blanket or bolster. And then sitting up. If you have your full cadre of props, 2 blocks, a bolster, and a blanket, then here's your architecture. You'll have 1 block on its second height, 1 block on its first height long up against it, then your bolster seated on those as a little ramp. You'll take your blanket into a wide square, so unfolding it once, and then rolling it into a little rope. If you don't have this full situation here, make do. You can prop up blankets, a couple blankets under your head end, and then fewer blankets as a ramp. It won't be as supportive, but it's totally fine. Don't worry about that. If this doesn't work, given the tools you have, also totally fine. Just one blanket long on your mat is totally fine. So is not having that blanket. So making some choices here. Once you have your particular architecture built for this kind of supportive ramp, you can choose to have long legs. And if you do, that bolster might go under your knees, that new rolled up little blanket. If you choose a bound angle version instead, bringing the soles of the feet together, knees wide, and then that blanket goes over the arches. Keep the soles of the feet together as you tuck one end and then the other, binding the feet together and giving some support to the shins. Now do this once you've set up in front of your bolster. You want a good 4 to 6 inches so that as you come down, a nice roundness in the ribs, not necessarily tucking the tail, but the ribs round. And then just the very base of your ribs touch the bolster, and then your head is supported. So whatever the legs are doing, right, you are supported. If you're back on a flat bolster or flat on your back, also acceptable. And if none of this feels or sounds appealing to you in any way, don't worry about it. Do a normal dead body corpse pose Shavasana, flat on your back, feet wide, and surrender. Taking your time to move into your space, your readiness. As you find your body moving back and down, allow the architecture of the earth to support you fully. No more effort in your bones or muscle. No more effort in guiding your breath. No more effort in controlling your attention. That's right. Don't worry about seeing nothing or quieting your thoughts. Instead, allow the thoughts to flow. But allow them to flow past you. Around you. Notice them. Recognize that you do not have to engage in their conversation. You can be clear of that attachment. As you begin to reside deeper into the cradle of the earth, farther into the expansion of space, into the trust of those beings. Trust their stability. Allow them to sustain you. For their long life is your long life. You, this being made of stars. Resilient. Ever shifting. And yet at your center, ever the same. If you have not already, allowing your breath to come back into your bones, gathering up your muscles, moving your jaw, your skull, your wrists, your ankles, eventually bringing your feet flat to the floor. Rolling off of this architecture, support, and then finding the seat of your choice. Perhaps adjusting hips up onto the block, bolster, or blanket. Moving the legs to the place where you feel the most upright, the most stable, with the least amount of effort. Thighs heavy, tail light. Belly gathered, heart expansive. Crown rising and reaching outward, connecting. Palms turn up. Into your palms, please accept the light of my gratitude. Let them fill to overflowing. Soak this up the channels of your arms and into the center of your heart. Let it merge with the light of your heart center, that eternal light, that space that never wavers. Bind your palms there, bow into that light. Breathe in brightness. Breathe out expansion. Trust that this light is there. This light is your guide. This light is your beacon home. It is your truth. Share it. From my heart to yours, my light through your light. Namaste. Grazie mille, yogis. May you move forward through this day with more clarity, compassion, grace, and devotion. I appreciate you all being here. If you feel compelled to donate, you can do that through my Venmo account at Richelle-Ricard, RICHELLE-RICARD. Also, if you could share this with your friends, I'd be eternally grateful. This keeps me going, so thank you very much. Keeps me going in heart more than anything. I will end the recording shortly. And if you'd like to stick around or ask any questions, I will unmute everybody. Otherwise, have a fantastic day and I will see you on Friday.